Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to a new video. So I'm at my 3,000 mile interval for the F150. So I need to do an oil change. So that is where we're going to get knocked out in this video. I got my Ford synthetic blend 5W30. Takes 6 quarts. So you need a 5 quart and a 1 quart, and then the FL500S filter. That is what they recommend, and that is what I always use. So really simple. I have done this on video before, but I'll kind of just go through it. And then I want to update you guys about the new car coming in. Well, actually, next weekend, I'm actually going to go pick it up. So I'll just give you some details on that. Just kind of get you guys acclimated to the new build and give you some details on that. But let's go ahead. Let's start draining the oil. I've already had the truck warmed up for a little bit. Not completely warm because it's going to be incredibly hot. So I usually just kind of turn it on for 10-15 minutes or so and let it warm up, and then it's good to drain. So let's go ahead and get started. So on this oil change, I'm actually changing out the drain bolt. I've been meaning to do this on the last oil change, but I never got one, so I picked one up and I just ordered it. I forget from what website. It was just a Ford's parts place. But that is the part code. Apparently the part code has changed, but it is a 15 millimeter. As you can see, it has a little gasket already on there, so really simple. And you know, mine's okay, but it's a little chewed up. So these things are only like 10 bucks. Probably find them cheaper, but I figured I would mention that since it is always a good practice to replace it every single time, since it's pretty cheap. And I'd rather have a nice fresh bolt on there every single oil change, so you don't have to worry about it stripping or something happening. So we're going to be installing that as well. As you can see, I took the bottom pan off. It's just 4 8 millimeters. Zip them off real quick. Then we come into here, and what I normally do is take off the oil cap as well as pull up the dipstick to allow the oil to drain properly, get airflow in there, and get as much out as possible. So I'm going to do that now, and then we can go under and loosen the drain bolt. All right, so the drain bolt this is the sway bar right there. So you can see the drain bolt right there. You're simply just going to use a 15 millimeter wrench of your choice to break it loose. There's not a lot of torque on those, so you don't have to, you know, it's not really hard to break loose. So just make sure the wrench is on there well, so you don't strip it or anything. As you can see, mine's a little bit chewed up from over the years. Not from me, but from other people, previous owners. So that is one of the main reasons why I'm going to swap it out for the new one. But let's go ahead and break it loose and start draining the oil. All right, so it's nearing the end of draining out from the pan. I'm gonna let that sit for another 5-10 minutes or so just to get as much out as possible. And then once I see that finished, I'll put the new plug in, and then we'll go to the front and start taking the filter off to drain that. And then we should be good to fill, but I'm gonna let this drip for a little bit. All right, so oil is pretty much done draining out. So now we're gonna change up the plug. So as you can see, exactly the same, but just much newer. I did have some trouble. I don't know if you guys saw, I did have some trouble taking it off with the 15 millimeter wrench. As you can see, it's kind of chewed up. Let me get you a little bit better light. So you can kind of see it's all chewed up there. So I had to use the vice grips, and it came off with that. So that is one of the reasons why I'm changing it up. But look, old, new, it's got a nice fresh gasket on there. So again, very easy to do, very cheap to do. So I highly recommend it. So now I'm going to go throw this in, torque it down, and then we can move over to the filter. plugged up the oil pan with the new bolt. Now we are going to move onto the filter right there. This is the front of the truck on the driver's side, sitting right there. A little awkward to get to. I have this oil filter strap wrench that kind of helps get some leverage just to loosen it, and then I can do it by hand. In terms of the oil pan and where to put it, there is a couple places that it drains out. There's a tray right here, but I never found it to drip out that way. I usually find it drips right behind this metal plate. So I put the pan right there, or the oil drain bucket. But just keep an eye here just in case. I have some cardboard down here so it doesn't drip on the floor. But we should be good. Otherwise, every single time I've done this, it's always come out the back. So I'm betting it's going to come out that way, but just in case, have some cardboard in front. Okay, so as suspected, you can see it draining out the back, but I am getting a few drips out of the tray right there. So like I said, make sure you have some cardboard or something down, just so you don't drip on your floors and get them all messy. But gonna let that drain for a while, and then we can go ahead and put the new filter in. Well, first we're gonna get the filter ready, and then we'll throw it in. All right, so now we're gonna put the filter on since it just stopped dripping. Again, this is FL500S. That is what this truck requires. This is a 3.5 EcoBoost. Here's the filter. And you don't have to do this, but I normally do it just to get a good seal. I open up the small bottle that I get and pre-fill the filter, not too much since it's at a weird angle and it's not up like a normal motor. It's, on the side, so it kind of drips out. So I just fill it up just a little bit, just to kind of, just like that. And then I'll take some of that and I'll put it around the gasket so it gets a nice good seal. And the filter is ready to go in the truck. So let's get back under and put it on. Now this is only hand tight. You don't have to use any wrenches or anything like that. So don't go crazy with it, because you'll pay when you're taking this thing off if you do it too tight. Alright guys, so we pulled the oil out from underneath. I still have the cardboard under there just in case it drips a little bit, so it doesn't drip on the floor. But just a quick inspection of the oil to make sure there's no metallic or copper or anything in there, and everything looks absolutely perfect. So we are looking good. If we put it on our finger, definitely dark, so it definitely needs to be changed. But let's go ahead, kind of clean everything up, and then we can start filling up the truck with the 5W30. Alright, so one last thing that we have to empty. I run the JLT 3.0 oil catch can. So I usually empty that every 1,000 miles or so. It's really not much, but obviously you got to empty it every once in a while. So you typically can wait 3,000 miles or so. That thing probably wouldn't even fill up, but again, I just like to keep an eye on it, so I'm making sure it's not overflowing or anything. But I'm going to go ahead and empty it. I emptied it 1,000 miles ago, so it shouldn't be that much. And I keep a little container over there that I've been dumping it in just to keep an eye on how much I'm actually taking out of the can. So let me go ahead, empty that, and then we can get to filling the actual motor. Alright, so as you can see, it's probably about an eighth filled or so. It's really hard. Let me get you some better light. But that's usually what it is, about every 1,000 miles or so. So not too bad. And I keep this little container over here that I've been filling up with this just to keep an eye on it, as I mentioned. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. and then we'll add it to the actual oil pan to dispose of properly. So let me go ahead, clean this out, and put it back on, and then we can put the oil in. All right, so we are all cleaned out, emptied, and this is how much oil came out of the oil catch can in 3,000 miles. So not that much, but definitely good to keep an eye on that. As you can see, it's pretty watery over time, so it's good that we're not putting that back in the motor. But now we can go ahead, take the little cup, put it right back on the JLT catch can, and we are set. All right, so we are pretty much finished up with the oil change. The only things I need to do is reset the oil life inside the truck. Then we're going to go ahead and fill all this or the old bottles up with the old oil so we can dispose of it properly. Plus we can see just how much came out, so we can make sure that there's 6 quarts coming out of the truck and it's not burning any oil. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'll show you how to reset the oil life inside the truck as well, which I've done before, but I'll do it again since we are here. And then we can start going over the new car and what's going on. It's going to be filmed this space in about a week. All right, so we're in the truck. I'm going to go ahead and start it up, reset the oil life. All right, so what you're going to do is hit over, and then you'll get to display mode. Then you're going to hit over again, and you're going to scroll down to this engine information. As you can see, I had 36% left of my oil life. I do it a little bit early. I do it every 3,000. So all you're going to do is hold OK, and that is going to reset. So as you can see, it's 100%. And then also what I do is I go over to trip fuel, and my trip 2, that is my oil change interval. So I just know exactly how much I have on this oil change. So as you can see, I had 3,195 miles on this oil change. I'm going to go ahead, hold OK, and that is going to reset. So now I know exactly how many miles are on this oil change. And once I hit 3,000 again, I can go ahead and do another one. All right, so I'm going to let the truck run for 10 minutes or so, just to kind of get it up to operating temp. And then we're going to go ahead and check the dipstick here to make sure we're good, which we always are, but it's always good to do that in your oil changes to make sure. I'm going to keep the carbo box underneath. As you can see, it's dripping from that pan from the filter still, and I don't want it to drip anymore. So I'm going to leave it there. Once I pull it back out in the garage, I'm going to throw it back under just so it doesn't stain my driveway. I'm also probably going to wipe up the little tray as well to make sure, or at least try to get as much as I can before it drips anymore. But it hasn't dripped in a while, so we should be good. But I'm going to go ahead and let this run. All right, so we are good. So you just want it in between, or at least up to the second dot. Always hard to read these dipsticks, but I always have to end up taking it a few times. But we are good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. All right, guys, so it is the following day. Sorry I don't have my mic, so that's why it sounds a little bit different. But I just wanted to wrap this up. I mentioned that I was going to talk about, or at least give you some details on the new car. Now, if you guys have been following me, you guys know that I owned a 2017 STI for 6 years, just recently sold it, and now I'm replacing it with a new car. So the truck is going to still remain as my daily driver, and in just a few days, I am headed down south to go pick up a car. I'm taking a one-way flight, driving it back. It's about a 12-hour drive, so it's a pretty decent drive, but I'm really excited about it. Now, as for what car it is, I'm gonna leave it up to, I guess, the reveal video, if you want to call it that. But it definitely is a car that I talked about. I went over a few different options that I was considering, and it is definitely on that list. That's all I'm gonna say. Now, as for this week, though, I am actually storing my buddy's Yara edition, or Yara edition, however you say it, G80 M3. It's a Techno Violet one. He actually used to have the Brooklyn Gray one, and then he bought the Yara edition. He ended up selling the Brooklyn Gray, and he kept the Techno Violet. He actually just got it recently wrapped in stealth PPF, so it's pretty cool looking. And he's gonna be away for a little bit, so he wants me to use it for the week, drive it around. So I'm gonna be using that as my daily. I'll probably do a video on it. And also, he dropped off some future classic spacers to put on, so I'll be doing a video on putting spacers on the G80, which will be cool to kind of go over that with you guys, since that is something I haven't done. I haven't done any modifications to other cars really on the channel. So I'm looking forward to installing those, spending some time with the car. It is pretty cool, and I'll definitely give you guys some videos on that, showing you, you know, all the details on it, because it's pretty awesome with the stealth PPF. So as for this video, that is going to wrap it up. I hope you guys enjoyed the oil change. Just a fun little Sunday, getting that knocked out. Something I've been meaning to do, and I always enjoy getting that stuff done. Doing maintenance is always fun to me. Plus, I had one of my kids out there with me. I don't know if you saw her in some of the video, but she was extremely interested, kind of helping me along and watching the whole process. So it's always fun kind of teaching your kids your hobbies. It's great when they take an interest without you even asking them. So it was a lot of fun spending some time with her, getting that oil change done. But that's gonna wrap it up for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions at all, be sure to ask them below. But in the meantime, keep it clean, keep it simple, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.